Hello, friends. Alright, so today I'm gonna be talking about something, um, kind of funky, kind of deep, but, let's hope that I can do a good job here. I'm gonna be talking about the desire to not exist. And being that this is a very touchy subject, I wanted to start it off with something I created today, and because I make music, and I figured why not? I should share my music, and if you're interested in this video, this song doesn't 100% link with it, but there's elements of it that does, and I'm not sure if you going to identify with it and feel what I feel, but I thought I might as well, right? It's only a couple. It's only like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so it's not that long, and it's pretty good. So at least from my perspective, but then I'm gonna really get in deep into that desire to not exist and what it is, and the philosophical idea and also the mystical idea around it. Because some people perceive this as a bad thing, but there are philosophical ideas where this is actually a good thing, and it just depends about how you go about it. So let's just hear the song first, and we'll move on.
Sometimes I have thoughts, but I'm not sure if they're mine. I don't trust my feelings unless they really feel like me. But I forgot what I feel like. I look inside, don't understand what I see. Empty, yeah, something underneath. I can't explain what I'm begging to be. Something like hope, maybe, but hope never settles in me. There are some things I have I'd really like to keep, but I tell myself I can't. I don't wanna be deceived. A familiar face, tell it I'm happy. I don't wanna be tied to feelings I know I'm just faking. I like to believe I'm sending good thoughts, so what I want isn't ending even when things are good. I don't feel fine, but I'm not trying to act like I'm waiting to die. Heart and souls with fragile minds, trapped in space, defying time. I must believe or I'll be lost. If the good die young, then what of those who live too long? Maybe my end was the beginning. What I perceive is the veil thinning. What lies beyond, I don't wanna know, unless it means I lose my body, my mind, my soul.
Alright, that is the end of that. But yeah, the I talk about these different thoughts and emotions and things that I go through, and the final thought, the final verse is You know, hold up. Maybe my end is the beginning. What I perceive is the veil thinning. What lies beyond, I don't want to know, unless it means I lose my body, my mind, my soul, which is the idea of not existing. It is because we're not just talking about losing the mind and the body, but the soul, believing that you're not going to continue after this life. Some people believe that this idea of not existing is some sort of cop out where um, wanting to die is too harsh because it's final, and not existing is just disappearing and so on. But we need to understand that regardless if you're an atheist, a skeptic, religious, like a fundamental religious person, a regular religious person, a mystic, esotericist, an occultist, regardless if you're very spiritual or any level of spirituality there, or if you're atheistic or not, agnostic, or any type of level, like anywhere in the spectrum between all these things, regardless of who you are and what you believe, none of us actually know what happens after death. So even me, as a very, very, I would say advanced, not to toot my own horn, but the fact that I've been doing it for a very long time, mystic and esotericist and cultist, even though I believe very strongly in a lot of spiritual things, I don't actually know what happens after I die. And the reality is that because of that, that means that when I die, I might continue existing. And a lot of occultists and people in different traditions want to continue existing forever, and people believe they'll go to heaven. Some people will believe that they'll go to hell because they've been bad. Some people believe they'll go to hell because it's some sort of party. Some people believe in many other different forms of afterlife. Some people believe that there's a reincarnation, and reincarnation is present in Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, all of these things. And for some of them, it's perceived as a bad thing, like, oh, you didn't make it, so now you have to be reincarnated and continue the process until you can escape. But a lot of these people sometimes believe that escaping is going to some sort of heaven realm where you're like at peace or bliss or some sort of splendor, where it's just like amazing and a paradise and all of these things. And I want to draw this distinction because the idea of not wanting to exist does not mean you're copping out from death. It's that death isn't enough. It's that if you were to die, you might continue existing, and that means you have to continue doing things, and you need to continue being aware. You need to continue um, um, uh, 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 you need to continue perceiving. You need to continue um, experiencing. And the idea of not existing does not mean death in the sense that your body dies, but the idea of not existing is that your entire persona, ego, spirit, soul, everything stops existing, meaning that there is nothing after death. And atheists believe that this is an inherent thing where you did not exist and then you were born, and when you die, you go back to not existing. And that is a very pleasant belief, because it means that once you die, there is no more, and that means that there is no more suffering. But also, people believe that if you have a lot of bliss, this is like a good thing, which it is a good thing, but on another level, if bliss is a possibility, then the absence of bliss is a possibility. So obtaining bliss becomes as a chase. You have to continue trying to maintain bliss. You need to continue running after bliss. So not existing is not needing to run from suffering and not needing to run towards joy. You don't have to run towards pleasure. You don't have to run towards bliss. There's no more longing. There's no more nothing. So people would say, this existence is like this type of thing that is possible, that is good, because there's this idea of connection and acceptance and being loved. But if you don't exist, the desire for those things don't exist. There's no awareness. There's no need for those things because you just don't exist. right? And I want to share another song with you guys, but I'm gonna continue talking so that it's not all about music. Um, but this is a song that I wrote based off of my desire to not exist, but from a different perspective. Because I'm not atheistic, I think that it's possible that not existing is an inherent thing, and we just made up the afterlife, and when I die, I just automatically stop existing. But I don't trust that. It's a possibility that I could believe that, and when I die, I continue existing, and I'm proven wrong, and then what do I do then? It's like I just lived this entire life and I didn't even want to continue that. Not in the sense that I want to like delete, like alt delete or nothing. But in the sense that I believe this is enough and I don't want to like do this forever, right? It's not that I want to leave now. It's that I'm okay right now, but I perceive this idea of eternity as a hell, because no matter how good this existence is, um, after a couple of thousands of years, it will get old. Now imagine a million. Now imagine a billion. And people don't understand these numbers because they're just numbers. But when you think about it, a million pennies is a million. Oh, what was it? Million pennies or seconds? I think it's seconds. A million seconds is 13 days. A billion seconds, I think, is 30 something years. So look at that big difference. A billion is a lot more than a million. And now we're talking about infinity. So we're talking about trillion, octillion. We're talking. There is no end. There's no number that I can say that can characterize infinity. So when you think about it, no matter how good existence is, like even if your existence is just, um, you know, cocaine and beer and whiskey and really hot whores, at what point do you say, hey, like, I'm over it, like, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, do you think that you would want to do that for like 1,000 or, 10,000 years? And if you don't like that type of stuff, let's say, like, all right, I think that there is an element of where this might become a thing that's pleasurable, depending on who you are. Because I think if you go into just this shallow pleasure, like, like drugs and hookers and rock and roll and blah blah blah, um, um, but on another level, like, let's say we're talking about like your love of your life, like you're married, this is the love of your life, you're madly in love, she's madly in love with you, you have children, and there you are a family that is actually functional, and you guys work well, and you all love each other, and it's a beautiful thing. This might be the only thing that I would say. I can't say anybody else, but this might be the only thing that I would say would be worth eternity. But even then, like, we have to really understand what eternity is. Like, we're talking forever, right? Now, when I search really deep inside of me, if I had that, like love of my life, children, and I don't know what eternity would even look like. Would they age? Would we get old? Would we just stay the same age we are in the beginning? Like, how does that even look? But let's say this was a reality. Um, Eternity might be bearable at that sense, but what does eternity with your family even look like? Like, where are you? Like, what is this realm that you're in? Like, what is around you? Like, let's say you were with your family and it's eternity, but the realm around you is super bad. Like, now you have to suffer and watch your family suffer. So, what then, right? So, I just don't trust the idea of eternity. And there are different conceptions where afterlives aren't eternal. Like you do them for a while, and even if you're being punished, it's like for a minute, for like not a minute, but a while where you atone and transform, and then you're giving another chance. There's all of these different conceptions within Kabbalah and Buddhism and Hinduism and blah blah blah. But ultimately, this idea of forever seems like just way too much. And some people convince themselves that this is a good thing, but I just don't understand how that can be a good thing. Not because there is no reality where this would be a good thing, but what is the likeliness that you would get the reality where it is a good thing? So, out of all of the realities that could possibly happen where you exist forever, um, I only see one that's pleasurable, and I don't trust that I'll get that particular one. So, I would say that not existing would be better. But the reality around non existing is just the fact that non existing means not being aware. So if you're not aware, then consciousness doesn't matter anymore. Like without awareness, you're not able to even acknowledge that you're conscious. Without awareness, you can't perceive yourself or anything outside of you. There is no senses, there is nothing. So, not existing, we don't know about all of the other components, but we do know that if you do not exist, that means you're not aware. And as long as you're not aware, it doesn't really matter, right? Um, Nothing else matters. The point, it comes down to awareness. So, um, this idea of desiring not to exist can be a good thing or a bad thing. It just depends on which way you look at it. From a philosophical perspective, is this idea of this might be too much and I prefer to not exist, and that is a valid point. But I don't think that looking at it from this point is the absolute healthiest, because you're not desiring this non existence from a pure state. It's more of a um, depressed state where you prefer it because everything else is shittier. But what I'm trying to say is there's these elements of not existing where not existing, becoming unaware, is the dissolution of ego, which means that you are now reintegrated into God, which is the oneness. And being one makes you none, because being one means there's nothing inside or outside of you. And if there's nothing in any direction, then this thing just can't exist because there's no way to perceive it. If only one thing exists, then that means that it exists in a complete and total vacuum, and then there is no subjectivity. There's no way to interpret anything. Like, you can't perceive yourself if there's nothing else to be able to distinguish yourself from. So oneness is noneness, and this is considered the the reintegration with God. Like in Kabbalah, this would be re-entering Ein Sof, and becoming one with the infinite and nothingness. In Hinduism, this would be reintegrating with the purest form of Brahman, which is completely unmanifested. From Pseudo Dionysus' perspective, this is reuniting with the divine darkness. And yeah, so this idea of not existing is actually deeply spirit what's it called, mystical, esoteric, and sometimes occult. Most occultists have different conceptions. There's a lot of occultists that want to be deified and become a god and exist as some sort of entity that can be worshipped and can be worked with. um, so there's that. But um, personally, I think that not existing is better, unless it is guaranteed that I can get the one existence of eternity that actually would be pleasurable, which is true divine love with family. Um, and I understand that not everybody wants that, so you might believe that some sort of heathenistic existence would be better, and you can desire that, and you can work towards that. Not in the sense that it's absolutely true, but in the sense that if you work towards that, in a spiritual manner, then if it's possible, it becomes more possible because you're trying to achieve it. So the atheistic perspective is that we automatically go to nothingness, and if they're wrong, then they might be expecting to not experience anything and be rudely interrupted and awakened and realize that they're wrong, and they have no way to address that because they don't know any of the methods of achieving in a spiritual sense. So they would just be stuck with whatever the hell they got. And I rather hedge my bets and say I'm not sure what's going to happen after life, so I should probably work towards achieving something that I actually would desire. And what I desire is to re-merge with God, which is nothingness, and completely annihilate the ego, which is the spirit, which is the persona, characteristics, traits, attributes, everything that makes me me, my essence. Um, Once my essence is gone, my awareness is gone, then I no longer exist. I am one with God. I am a part of the infinite potential that can create but isn't a thing. And there's some sort of idea behind that because um, before the universe existed, there was a emptiness, a nothingness, and within it was infinite potential. And at some point, that expanded and many things emerged from it. So if you reunite with that, it's not guaranteed that you'll be there forever. There might be some sort of existence where you go there and then reemerge at some other point for some reason, and there is there's no real science behind it. We don't know why you would emerge or not, because if you think about it, when the universe was a void with some sort of infinite potential within it, regardless of what you think that infinite potential was, it was an infinitely dense point or something immense or something small, or if it was intangible, it doesn't matter. The point is there was a void, something was in it, and then it expanded, right? So even from a scientific perspective, that was a thing, and then something emerged from it. So if you was to merge with that, we have no idea if you would ever re-emerge again. From a mystical perspective, just because the fact that the thing we're trying to merge with at some point, you know, shot stuff out of it. So yeah. So now, from a philosophical perspective, what you need to really acknowledge and work with is understanding what is your desire for this nothingness. Are you trying to escape reality? Are you trying to escape your current situation? Is this coming from some sort of mental illness, not in the sense that you're crazy, but in the sense that you might be depressed, you might be philosophically depressed, in a sense that you are leaning towards nihilism or leaning towards not nihilism as a philosophical point, but you might believe that nothing matters, free will is fake, and like no purpose, no meaning, no this, no that. And this pretty much is nihilism, but some people have reached this point without even being aware of nihilism, where they just like don't really see a real point to anything. So yeah, so I don't want to talk about this too much. I was just trying to explain the mystical perspective on not be like becoming nothing, not existing, so that you understand where this comes from on a mystical level and philosophically. Now, when we're talking about a sense of psychologically, like as a maybe you have some sort of condition that developed because of situations or because of a chemical imbalance or something else, this might be a little more complicated. Now, I have a video right before this, like the one that I posted right before this video, where no, not before this video, before the it's like is this video, the next video, and the one before that, right? And that video explains more about philosophical depression and nihilism, melancholy, and that type of stuff. But this is specifically about the desire to not exist, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, unless you're planning to act on it. Like if you're trying to force yourself to not exist, because the only logical way to do that is to delete and Obviously, I will never be able or want to promote that, because that obviously is a very final thing, and if we're wrong about the way existence is, this might not be a good option. If it happened, like, if anybody was thinking about that, and there are many people that try to tell you all of these positive things about existing to prevent you from doing that, and I don't do that because I don't believe that someone that as is at that point will accept these positive traits of reality, because if they're at that point, they've already acknowledged those positive traits and said that is not enough for me. My personal experience shows me that those things are just not as real as you think they are, and I'm not experienced these things that you're talking about, or something along those lines. So what I do is go in the opposite direction and remind you we don't know what happens after deletion. So it might just be that you're going to enter a reality much worse than the one you're currently in. So simply, from the stance of hedging your bets, it's better to be in the reality that you know than a reality that you don't know, because we have no clue the how like how wide the division is between quality of of existence. So deletion could lead you to a reality that is significantly worse, and in that case, what is the point of doing it if the whole point is to escape reality? Like, doing it is going to cause you to continue existing anyways, and not only you're going to continue existing, but you'll continue existing in a much worse state. So obviously this is not a safe option. Now, I'm not telling you that it's wrong or this or that. It's simply not a smart option, simply because of the lack of information of what we of we that we have over what happens when that happens, right? So I'm not trying to tell you that the people have already chosen that for themselves, are in that place. All that we know is that whatever happened to them, we don't know. We only know about the physical aspect of them, right? They get buried, and the people around them suffer, right? That's all we know. And but their consciousness, their awareness, we don't know if it ceases or if it persists. And if it does persist, do they get a pleasant reality or a horrific reality, or any, you know, space within the spectrum? So if you're contemplating or feeling that way, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, think in the long run. Um, Whatever you're experiencing right now is probably better, simply because of the fact that you already know it. So, the devil that you know is better than the devil you don't know. It's kind of that type of thing. Because the devil that you don't like the devil that you do know might be poking you in the ear with a 2-inch dick, and the devil that you don't know might be poking you in the ear with a 2-foot dick, right? So what do you prefer, right? So just hedge your bets. That's the best that I can do. I'm not going to tell you that things are right or wrong. I'm not going to tell you that you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, if you're thinking logically, you should probably not do something that will make things worse for you, unless there is some sort of information that gives us absolute knowledge. And even then, I would say that if you're currently in an existing state, you should probably remain there until um, you pass to the other level naturally. Simply, if anything, for any other reason, simply because of the fact that before we were born, there were billions of years. After we were born, there are billions of years, and we're only really alive for maybe somewhere between 70 and 90, maybe even 100. For some people, even 110. But if you think about it, 110 years compared to billions of years in both directions is a blink of, like, not even a blink of an eye, right? It's like the twitch of a freaking eyelash. So it's not that bad, honestly. It's just not that bad. But if you do desire to not exist, and you're not seeing this from a depressed state or some sort of ill state. You're saying it's from a logical state where non-existence is better than existence because of the lack of needing to run away from suffering and running towards pleasure. Uh, then this doesn't make you bad, or it is not bad. Just make sure that you're not going about it in a way where you're gonna act on it and maybe induce something that ends up being way worse than what you think. Instead, look at the metaphysics and mystic perspective of it and use this as um, a reason to practice non existing, which is the art of ego dissolution, which is to look inward, find these components of yourself, and discover which components of these components of yourself are not true. And by not true, meaning something that was imposed on you by culture, religion, political ideology, society in general, maybe internal things like your personal interpretations of experiences of the past and the feelings and thoughts that arose from it, and the beliefs that solidified because of those thoughts and feelings being reinforced. And if you go down this route, you can take down the scaffolding. You can burst your own bubble and realize that you were living in a bubble when it comes to belief and identity and all of these things, and sort of deconstruct yourself so that when that day comes that you're naturally going to be deleted, you can walk into the dark with no attachment and say, I am ready to move on into this other existence or non-existence, and I guess I'm gonna find out when I actually cross that veil. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thank you guys for listening, and I am going to show you my little song now. I showed you a song in the beginning. I want to show you a song in the end, and I don't want this song to make you sad, but this song is what I feel and how I perceive non-existence, and it is pretty brutal in a sense, but I think it's melodic enough to be entertaining and to not make you feel too bad. Okay, so here we go. Can't break a heart where there's no hearts to break. Can't lose a soul that God never made. Can't break the bones of a lake. Can't cut the skin if there's nobody. Sweet darkness, take me. Sweet nothing, take me. Take my mind and my body, don't refuse me. If I lose me, they can't abuse me. I find it so soothing, nothing else suits me. Oblivion choose me, I wanna lose me. No sky for the flight, no grounds for the land, no water to swim, no woman, no man, no happy to lose, no burden to bear, nothing to choose, no need to be fair. Sweet darkness, take me. Sweet nothing, take me.
Take my mind and my body, don't refuse me. If I lose me, if I lose me, they can't abuse me. I don't wanna be, I don't wanna end, I don't wanna read, don't wanna pro, don't wanna stay, don't wanna go, just wanna stop and never know, can't come back. Not again, not again, not again. No more, no more.
So, as you can see, this song explains my idea of non-existing and why it's preferable. And it ends with the declaration of "I can't come back," which is a denial of reincarnation. So yeah, so I think that this illustrates the idea of not wanting to exist very well. And yeah, yep. Okay, guys, I don't want to take up too much time. I already showed you two songs, and I talked a lot. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and see ya.